Hey everyone, it is Jay Soloff from Investors Alley, and this is our options trade of the week. So here we are at marketchameleon.com in the unusual options volume screen here. And what I like to do is sort by volume to see where a lot of the big action is, based on generally it's the bigger market cap stocks, the more liquid stuff that appears up top. Of course, you can see that, the varying unusualness depending on the stock here. So NEO's trading about 3 times regular. Pinterest trading 9 times as much as it normally does. So they had earnings yesterday, so that makes sense. So actually, let's look at Pinterest here. You can see that most of the action has been bullish. That makes sense. You can see the stock's up 27%. Usually calls are associated with bullishness, puts with bearishness. It doesn't have to be that way, but that's normally the case when you're talking about the average trader just buying calls for something going up and puts for something going down. So, but you can see that there was a lot more, 600,000, a lot more volume than the regular 66,000. So if we dig into this a little bit more, we can take a look and see what some of the trades were. So here are the trades, once again sorted by quantity to kind of see what the big traders and the funds may be doing. And so this one's interesting here. So we have the stock here at about 62 and a half. So, and that's a huge jump, right? It's up 27%. So if you look at this first trade here, these two, very much looks like someone just rolled a covered call. So they had a covered call that was at 50. The stock was, below that in the 40s before earnings, and it jumped higher. And so with the stock around 61, it looks like they closed this trade and then opened one up in February, which is a 65 strike for the covered call. So they sold the call for 862, bought the shares for 61. Now it looks like it looks like a roll here. It looks like this one was closed and this one was open. But technically speaking, if you own the stock, you could just do the call. So there's probably a little bit more at play here than just a pure roll, because both of them seem to be stock contingent. But regardless, it ends up with a covered call position. And what's interesting is that it's a relatively bullish trade. Now 65 by February is not that much higher, but it's still higher. And then there's this huge gap. So probably wouldn't make this trade if you expect it to just drop back down to where it was. So probably a suggestion that this move is longer lived. Of course, the news was really good. The users and the revenue and everything, ad revenue were way up for Pinterest. So in this pandemic period, a lot of online activity, and Pinterest definitely being sort of an online photo sharing, idea sharing site is very much benefiting from that. So of course, this 862 does provide some downside cushion. Also, what is likely a decent yield. But so even if it blows through that 65 strike, this person's obviously doing well, making money. So interesting to see this and wondering if 65 is more of a cap, or if that's just a level that the person is comfortable taking their profits at. So interesting trade. And if we look at it a bit closer, we can see what I'm talking about. It was it was up, and it was about 50, and then shot up almost as high as 70 before closing at 62. So if we look at we'll look at the trade here and how you might do that. In this case, it's February. You can see here 65 call here. You can see this is where the activity was. 5,000 of these traded. So it'd be something as simple as finding something like a covered stock or covered call in your broker, and you'd be selling the calls, buying the stock, one call for every 100, and see that the price would be around 52.46. That takes into account the stock price and what's being sold from the call. So that's your protection level there too. So even though the stock is at 62, you wouldn't lose money on this until below 52.46. So it works in that way. It also works as premium collection and yield collection, plus it gives you some upside potential up to 65 with the stock at about 62. So I talk about this sort of thing. This is a theoretical trade situation, but I give actual recommendations in my Option Floor Trader Pro service, which there's a link on this page. It's just buying calls and puts. Definitely a good way to get started in option trading. If you want to learn more, check it out.